Hello, you super handsome humans. We're going up step 10 in the tribe triangle journey. And this is about goal setting, which sounds kind of dry. However, it is actually one of the most important things that you can learn and implement in your life, in your journey of standing up your honor-based culture. All of the incredibly successful men and women that I have known over my career, heads of industries, they all have a goal setting system that they implement themselves, but also with their organizations. So it would behoove all of you and myself to double down on our goal setting. And it takes some work, takes some protocol. In fact, you can almost equate this with how you go about your life, is how you conduct your goal setting. It shows a lot of love to the journey, a lot of love to where you currently are, and of course, a lot of love towards where you're going, because goals are the way we connect our current reality to the reality that we want to have, and that's your vision. So vision, right, that's our first pillar of our foundation of alignment. Our values is the second pillar, and then of course mission is the third one, and we drill down into that shared mission with our transparency, our collaboration, which then drives reciprocity, and how we conduct all of that journey is really with a goal setting technique. It's not random, it should be intentional. And so goal setting is very practical, it's very tactical, and obviously it's pretty strategic as well. They refer to goals as that vision you have for the future with work boots on, right? It connects those together. And it really answers those three big questions that we have about culture and our journey up the tribe triangle. Where am I currently? Well, that's what your goal needs to be starting from. Where do I need to go next? And goals are the bridge between those two. And then, of course, who do I need to be? And you're that person who sets and implements goals. So there's lots of different goal setting techniques. I've included three of the big ones in the text that you can sign up for at philipfolsom.com. And a couple of those are PACT, which I like a lot, PACT. Also, in that document, I go over GRAILs. That's an acronym that we use in K4. This is our GRAIL goal setting technique. And then, of course, the big one, which everyone knows, which is SMART. And SMART is an acronym that I'm going to go through with y'all so you can at least have a little jump start. And most of you know this goal setting acronym. It's the act of doing it. That's hard. And that's one of the reasons why A in SMART, it can be attainable, but I like to include accountable. The people who you set goals with, the people that you transparently share what your goals are, that hold you accountable. Even the act of setting goals should be a transparent process with your team or your family. So let's go over SMART goals. And if you all want to grab a pen, it's a great way to implement and then integrate this. Doing any of these seemingly tedious kind of granular activities should be done with other people. Really hard to maintain this by ourselves. All right, so SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T. You can write that down in your piece of paper. S stands for specific. And of course, we need to be able to actually set a hard target that we're aiming at. Otherwise, we can never hit it. And that's really important. We need to recognize that the word sin means to miss the mark. So if we don't set any goals, we sin by default. So set some goals. You're going to miss a lot of them, and that's okay too. But actually declare them. There's a tremendous amount of power in the declaration of what you are going to achieve. Okay? M, measurable. If you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. So specifically, what does that mean? Is there a movement? Is there a certain amount of pounds or money or accomplishment or clients? Or what is that metrics that you're going to manage and measure? So the act of writing it down, tremendously clarifying. Just the act of writing down these SMART will pull things from the fog, tribe leader. And this is part of what your job is getting clear on these. So we have S, M, and then A is attainable in most of the SMART goal versions. I like accountable because I believe, and this is the premise of the whole journey up the tribe triangle, is that in honor-based cultures, people will always do more for others than they will do for themselves. This is the nature of kinship, reciprocity. And so accountability is the big engine of accomplishment that drives all forms of heroism. So put yourself out there. Go public with your goals. Also ask other people their goals so you can pull out the heroism in them as well. So I like my A to be accountable, and I recommend you explore that as well for you. R, realistic. A lot of people just set absolutely bananas goals for themselves, and then when they fail, which they inevitably do, it's bad for their self-esteem, their confidence, and they go like, yeah, once again, I didn't accomplish my goals. So make sure that they're realistic, and it's important for just your journey to be able to set those little benchmarks that get you some attaboys along that journey, right? And so give yourself some love, and give your team some love by making sure that your goals are realistic. And then lastly, and potentially the most important one, T, is time bound. Boy, when you have a deadline, then we have a tendency to put some heat on that, right? And when we have just vague things on our to-do list, and I always have a lot of to-do lists, you'll notice that you never really get to the bottom of your to-do lists. You just kind of keep adding things on the top, and you get to it when you can. So to-do lists are endless. Now, when you actually calendar something, which means that it's time bound, there seems to be an anchor in reality that makes it more significant, and we tend to defend our calendars. And that's why we put a time-bound due date on it. And that could be a intermediary benchmark, it could be a end state, it could be an accountability check-in, but time-bound is really, really important. Put a date on it, and you will find that there's a little bit more pressure and a little bit more energy that it will draw forth from you, and it will hold you accountable. So SMART, pick a goal that will legitimately move you, family, your team, towards your vision. So we can only really hold so many goals that we're working towards. So make sure that when you're picking a goal, that it's one of those that's going to be one of the most impactful things you can do. And then write it down, and then run through that SMART acronym. And enjoy the journey, guys. We'll see you up there.